Hey, what's happening, everyone? How are you doing? Welcome to the TechXchange Open Source LLMs live stream. Did anyone watch as I'm logged into the platform as well, so I can watch myself and respond to your comments? But did you see the timer going back the other way? I was like, oh, this is great. We're just going back the other way. Alrighty, guys, I want to start out with where are you from? So let me know where you guys are at in the comments. I'm tracking below. I want to see where you're all tuning in from. I'm seeing a lot of good mornings. Good morning. How you doing, guys? Where's everyone from? Drop it in the comments. India, Spain, Pune, India, amazing. Berlin, Germany. Wow, what time is it there in Germany? Austria, wow, how you doing, Austria? Belgium, Ahmedabad, India, amazing. Jeff from Hong Kong, how you doing? Spain, amazing. India, Berlin, Sweden, India, wow. Egypt, wow, that's so cool. We got Germany, Stefan, Johan from Sweden, Kevin from Belgium. We got Rishika from India, Danish from India, Madrid. Wow, we really got everywhere. Where else? We got India, Uzbekistan, Sweden, Netherlands, Germany, Czech Republic, Belgium again, Kareem from Netherlands. We've got Germany, Nepal. Wow, I haven't seen too many from Nepal yet. Mumbai, we've got India again, Deepak, Cape Town, South Africa. How you doing, Cape Town? We've got Singapore, first Singapore. I love Singapore. Great food, great people as well. Denmark, how you doing? We got India, Germany, India. Dennis from Hungary, Uganda. How you doing? Pakistan. Oh wow, guys, you guys are coming from everywhere. We got Sofia in Bulgaria, Malaysia, New Delhi, Atlanta, USA. I think that's the first US one. Normally there's US all over the shop here, but that's the first US one I've seen. Australia, finally. Well, I'm tuning in from Sydney as well myself. We've got Netherlands, Slovenia, Taiwan. All right, we've got a ton. Wow, okay. I did not realize how many people are tuning in. This is quite a fair few people. Good thing I prepared all of 20 minutes ago. So we are going to be getting on with some LLMs. So first up, I want to say thank you so much, guys, for everyone joining. It's amazing to have you all here. We're going to be talking a little bit about open source LLMs today, and I'm going to give you a bit of a run through on how to build your very own MCP server, and I can talk a little bit about some of the other stuff that I'm working on as well. But I'd love to know, what are you using for AI for at the moment? Are you using it to code and improve your coding? Are you using it to help build your startups? Are you using it within your business workflows? Where exactly are you using AI? I'd love to hear a little bit about that. Alrighty, we've got lots of different countries coming and everyone connecting. Yeah, all should connect on LinkedIn. I love to see. Do we get attendance certificates? I have no idea, but I know that you're here. Okay, without further ado, I think let's agentic workflow, coding assistance. Cool. Chiefly for proof of concepts and coding assistance. I think these are really good use cases. Code, marketing, app, data analysis. Interesting for data analysis. Maybe I'll tell you a little bit about how I'm using AI. Coding and studying. So I think a really important thing that I noticed when I started particularly using AI for coding, because you guys know I love coding, I had to actually separate when I was coding, when I was thinking versus when I was coding, because otherwise I'd feel like I'd be trying to get the LLM to do a bit too much of my thinking. But I've actually got this process now. Maybe we'll do a video of it in the future. But I found that separating out my own thinking and taking a break more often, because we were able to produce so much code so much faster, that it's important to take a break. Okay, that being said, we are going to kick this off. What's in Code Assistant? And we've got automated databases work, data analysis, cool. Meeting minutes. I think that's a huge one, right? Because who wants to write meeting minutes? I saw some people, I was on a meeting last week and they just added a bunch of agents onto our Teams chat and it just started summarizing off our meeting minutes. I was like, great, we don't need a recap now. Okay, without further ado, we are going to kick things off and I am going to get coding. So in a second, you're going to see my screen come up and we are going to jump into a little bit of VS Code. Let's make sure we can see that coming up. We'll give it a second. Oh, wow, I didn't realize how many comments we got here. Okay, so we sharing my screen? We are sharing my screen. Okay, so I'm going to set a timer. Look, I got this cool little timer thing here. This is what I use in my daily coding. We're going to set it on a 15-minute timer. Hopefully you can see that. We've got a 15-minute timer. Come on, buddy. 15-minute timer. I swear it says 15 minutes. And we are going to be trying to build our own MCP server to be able to interact with Yahoo Finance. Some of you may have seen the YouTube video before. The timer's ticking down already. I'm watching the comments as we go through this. So if you've got questions, drop them here. I'm happy to help you guys out. Okay. So let's say, for example, that we wanted to start building some virtual agents or start building some LLM agents to be able to work with finance data. You guys know I love finance data. So how might we go about doing that? Well, one of the most popular libraries that if you've done a bit of finance stuff with Python is Y Finance, right? So we might create something called, I don't know, let's call a stock price function. So we're going to create a new Python file. And what we're going to do is we are going to use Y Finance to just bring back some stock prices, right? So pretty straightforward. So we're going to go import Y Finance. I'm doing this without AI as well. This is all off the top of my head. So I know we're talking about LLMs, but I'm not going to use LLMs here. Got the timer on the clock, a little bit of pressure. So we're going to go import Y Finance as YF. And then what we're going to do is, let's say we wanted to get the stock price for IBM. So we might go and say, we'll create a placeholder variable. So we're going to say stock ticker is going to be equal to IBM. So let's add a comment. So hold the stock ticker. And we are going to store that as a string variable, right? So that's our stock ticker. Now, to be able to get this from Y Finance, we want to go yf.ticker. And then we'd actually take this stock ticker and we'd pass it to Y Finance over here. So we'd actually then be getting some stock data. Stock data should now be available. Then all we really need to do to get prices is we need to go data.history, and we can choose the period for data that we want to bring back. So I'm going to bring back 1 month, and we can store that in another variable called prices. And while we're here, I'm going to bring in Colorama. So this just allows us to print a little bit nicer. So we're going to go from Colorama import 4. So that's going to allow us to change the foreground of our printing out to our terminal. Okay, so if I go print 4.yellow plus, I'm going to convert our prices to a string. So if I grab that, paste that there, and go 4.reset. Now, if I run this, hopefully this should print out the stock price data for a month. Cool. All right, so if I go and run this, so to run it, I'm using UV now. I know, revolutionary. So I can go UV run stock price function. Take a look. We've got all of our stock price data there for IBM. So we've got the date, we've got the open, high. I think close is in here somewhere. If I zoom out a little bit, you should let me run it again. So print. So you can see there. So I've got my close in this column. So really all we want is our close. So we might go and just slice on that and bring back our close. How are we doing on time? We got 11 minutes 53, not too bad. Okay, so if we go and run this again, we should just bring back our close data now. All right, that's looking good. Now, how would we turn this into a function or a tool that an LLM can use? Well, this is why MCP is so powerful, because we can define a tool once and be able to use it in a ton of places. We could use it with LangGraph. We could use it with Crew AI. We could use it with small agents, which is what I'm going to use it with. I also showed how to use it with Langflow in one of the videos literally the last YouTube video that I posted. It was a bit rough getting that video up, but I was like, we're going to do it. Okay, so how would we do this, right? So far we're able to get the stock price back. And if we change it, so let's say we use a different ticker, so we might pass through Apple. I think I've typed it wrong. It should be AAPL, not APPL. So if we went and change that to Apple, take a look. We're now getting Apple stock prices back. And if we did something like NVIDIA, we could change that NVDA. Beautiful. Take a look. We're now getting NVIDIA stock prices. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to convert this into an MCP server. So that's going to allow us to extend this out everywhere and use it in a bunch of places. So these are our basic imports for financy stuff. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our MCP dependencies. All right, cool. So to do that, we're going to go from MCP server.fastMCP. We are going to import fastMCP. And this is going to form the crux of our server. So I might go and say instantiate server. And I'm going to create a new MCP server, and I'm going to call it fast, or create an instance of fastMCP. I can name it. Honestly, I don't know where this name actually goes, but I've been doing it so far, it's just become habit. So as in this name, this variable here. Okay, so that is our server now instantiated. Now, what we want to do is we want to take all of this function that we've already created already, and we want to convert this into a tool that we can use. So how might we do that? Well, first up, we create or use a decorator. So we're going to wrap the finance stuff into a MCP tool. So to do this, what we want to do is we're going to create a decorator. So I'm going to MCP tool, and I'm having a bit of a mind blank. No, we're going to create define a function. So we're going to say def stock prices. And then to that, we are going to take the stock ticker variable and we're going to make it available as a variable there. We're going to specify that it's going to be a string type and we are going to return a string. Okay. Then what we need to do is we're going to tab this in. And it's really important when you define your MCP tool to have an appropriate doc string, because this allows you to pass this down to your agent and give context as to how this is all going to fit together. So I've actually gone and defined this already because I'm not going to write this from scratch. But basically, the doc string is as follows. So this tool returns the last known price for a given stock ticker. We've got our argument, and we've only got one argument, which is the stock ticker in and of itself. And then this is going to return the stock ticker price. This probably needs to be cleaned up a little bit because we're returning more than just the last price. But let's test this out. So I can paste that doc string in. I'm going to pause there. Let's double check to see if we've got any questions. Is this recording? Most likely. Okay, so we don't have any questions on this so far, but if you've got questions, let me know in the comments below. I am watching. Okay, so we've got our doc string. What we want to go on ahead and do is we need to go and take out this stock ticker here because we're now going to be capturing it from over there. And we want to go and return this. So we're going to return back a string, and that string is going to be, we're going to say stock prices for a particular stock. So we're going to give our stock ticker back here, and we are going to return the stock prices in and of themselves. But we really just want the close prices. So we're going to grab just the close prices and chuck them there. Okay, so if this works, we should be able to run this as an MCP tool. But as of right now, we're not actually running the server. So we need to tell, we basically need to define how we're going to run the server. And there's two transport modes. There's STDIO or standard input output, and there's SSE or server sent events. Now, there's a really good breakdown on the MCP protocol page of when you should use either one. I also talked about it a little bit in the last video, but for now, we're going to use standard input output. And to define that, we're going to say, let me zoom in a little bit, if name, so basically if they run this particular server function, we are going to run the MCP server. So we're going to say MCP run, and then we need to pass through that transport mode. So if I go, let's go and say model context protocol, I'm going to say SSE versus STDIO. So it does talk about it. Let's see if we can just bring it up. Nope. I'll bring it up later and I'll show it to you. All right, so we're going to say transport is equal to STDIO. All right, cool. So that is, we've still got an error there. Is that just, it should be equals. Perfect. All right, so that is our MCP server now running. All right, we've got 6 minutes to get this up and running and to be able to get a server. All right, so to run this, we can create or use the MCP inspector. To run that, we need to go UV run MCP dev. What do we call it? We should probably also rename us because it's not really a stock price function anymore. We're actually going to rename it as server. So to run it, so we're going to run UV run MCP dev and then run server.py. Cross our fingers, bit of a drum roll. Server port is in use. Oh no, we must have another one running. All right, this might be an old one that I was running. All right, let's try that again. Cross your fingers. All right, that looks like it's starting up. All right, so take a look. So our MCP inspector is running over here. Zoomed in a little too much. HTTP localhost 6274. So if I copy that over, paste that in, that is our server now running. But does it work? So if we go and connect down here, then what we can do is over the top, we've got a couple of different capabilities that are available inside of an MCP server. So we've got resources, prompts, tools. We've also got ping, sampling routes, so on and so forth. We're most interested in our tools. So if we hit tools and then list tools, take a look. That's our stock price function that we just went and defined. So if we go and select this, we can actually test it out over here. So if we went and passed through NVIDIA, take a look, we're getting our stock prices back. So this means that we can take this one tool deployed in a ton of places. So if we wanted to make get IBM stock price, boom, that's running. What about Apple? Boom, we're running again. Take a look. So we've now got our MCP server up and running. All right. So we're not done though. So what we want to do is that's our MCP server, great. But what we want to do is we want to wrap this inside of or pass this to an agent. So I'm going to create a new Python file called agent.py. And we are now going to connect this to our agent. And we're specifically going to be using the small agents library. I've got 4 minutes 32 on the timer. All right. So first thing we need to do is we need to bring in our studio stdio server parameters. So we're going to go from MCP import stdio server parameters, and then we need to import a bunch of stuff from small agents. So we're specifically going to be using Ollama for this via light LLM, just makes life a lot easier. So we're going to go from small agents, we're going to import tool. Let me zoom out a little bit. Tool calling agent. We're also going to bring in tool collection, and we are going to bring in light LLM model. I think that's how it's, is that right? Light LLM model. Cool. All right. So those are our, this is going to allow us to connect to MCP. We're running out of time, guys. We've got 3 minutes 43 on the clock. So connect to MCP. What is this? Our LLM agent capabilities. Why am I typing in caps? That's fine. Okay. So first thing we need to define our LLM. So we're going to grab our light LLM model. So I've got a number of LLMs running locally. So I can go Ollama list. So I've got a ton. So I've got Quen. I've been using that a lot lately for agents. I've got some stuff that I've trained myself, Open Hermes. We're going to use this, Quen 2.5 14B. That works really, really well. All right, so we're going to go light LLM model, and then I'm going to go model underscore ID is equal to that. But to be able to hit Ollama, we need to specify Ollama underscore chat, and then pass through the specific model ID that we want. Okay, then we need API base. So this is basically where our Ollama instance is running. To find that out, you can go Ollama serve. And if it's already running, it'll tell you it's already running, but it basically gives you this port. So we're interested in that port, right? So to do that, we, let me just minimize this. So basically what we want to say was we're running a HTTP localhost, and then we want to pass through that port. And then the last thing that we need to do is specify the context. So we're going to pass that through by passing through the argument num context. And this basically dictates how many, oh no, we're getting a call. This basically dictates how big of our context or how much context, what the context window size is going to be. A call through me. Okay, so we're going to set that to A192. Okay, so that should be our LLM model now instantiated. Next thing that we need to do is specify our server parameters. So this is our LLM done. LLM done. This is our MCP connection parameters. Get rid of that. And so we're going to say server params is equal to stdio server params. And then inside of here, what we're going to do is we need to pass through three things. So we need to pass through our command, we need to pass through our arguments, and we need to pass through any environment variables that we need. So our command is going to be UV, because that's how we ran our server initially. To be able to run our server, we just need to pass through UV run server.py. So we're going to pass through our args, and our args are going to be server, UV run server.py. We've got a minute left on the clock, guys. It is getting kind of close. All right, cool. So that is our set of server params now done. Now what we need to do is first up, we need to get our tools from our MCP server. To do that, we can use the tool collection class over here. So we're going to go with tool collection dot from MCP. We are going to pass through our server parameters. That's going to connect to it. We then want to say trust remote code and set that to equal to true. And then we're going to save that, rename that collection from that with statement as tool collection. So we'll be able to utilize this particular variable rather than referring to the entire thing. And the with statement will obviously terminate that. Okay, cool. Then we need to define our agent. Our agent is going to be tool calling agent. To that, we are going to pass through our model, which is our LLM from over here. I'm pointing at it as opposed to actually referencing. So that's going to be our model there. We've got 18 seconds on the clock. We then need to define our tools, and we are going to unpack our tool collection. So we're going to go tool collection dot tools, and then to be able to run this, we need to go agent run I don't know. What is IBM's stock price? That's the timer done. Okay, but that is literally it. So fingers crossed this runs. That's the timer going off right now. Okay, so fingers crossed. If we get this running, we should be able to get IBM stock price back, assuming no errors. Okay, so if we run this, we can run our agent. Remember, we defined our agent as agent.py. So to run it, we'd run uv run agent.py. Cross our fingers. That looks like it's running. So you can see that we're starting a new run, saying what is IBM's stock price. We're using Olama Chat and Quen 2.514b. It's called out to our MCP tool. This is looking promising, guys. We got an error. That's fine. It's going to resolve it. We know it's going to resolve it. So ideally, you can see that we've got our last price there. Does that LLM return that back? Take a look. Final answer. IBM's current stock price is $236.22. We've successfully gone and built an MCP server and an agent in 15-ish minutes. Not too bad. Now, we can obviously go and try different prompts. So if we wanted to go and try, I don't know, what is Apple's stock price? We can escape out of that. Let's try that. So again, this should ideally go out. It should pass through the Apple stock ticker as opposed to IBM's, get the stock prices back and return a result. So you see that it went and ran the stock ticker, the tool, MCP tool, stock ticker, and it passed through the variable Apple. It's got, hopefully, it returns back 193.16. But you can see that it's successfully gone and called out, it's printed out its observations. Take a look. The latest available price for Apple in this data set is 196.98 from April. Looks like it might have picked up a slightly incorrect one, but please check a real-time source. Anyway, you can see that we've managed to successfully build an agent. We can obviously tweak this a little bit, but that is our MCP server now up and running. I've got a bunch more capabilities when you go and watch a YouTube video, if you do go and watch it. But hopefully you've enjoyed a little bit of a sneak peek. We can take the screen sharing off now. Server guys running the live stream, but hopefully you've enjoyed that. We've talked a little bit about how to go about building your own set of MCP tools and connecting it up to an agent. I'll take a look, see if there's any questions. I don't know, I might need a refresh. That was stressful. I'm starting to sweat. It was awesome. Thanks. I'm awfully new to the MCP idea. Can you provide a brief use case where we can leverage it? All right, so you guys, I love the emojis. Could you please paste the code of the agent and the server here? It's all on my GitHub. So if you just search for Nick Knock Knack, you'll be able to find it. All the code's there. All right, so really good question. So can you please provide a brief use case where you might leverage this? So I had this question from one of our business partners that I was talking to the other day. And she's like, well, let's say I'm working with a bank. Where does MCP come in? How does MCP come in? Because there's all this other stuff flying around now. You would have seen Google's agent to agent and IBM's equivalent, or IBM's open source version, which is going to be called ACP, so Agent Communication Protocol, Context Protocol. Can't remember what the C stands for, but imagine you're a bank and you're trying to work out how to connect all of these amazing LLM capabilities to your servers internally. Well, you might actually go and set up an MCP server locally within your firewall and expose exactly what you want to those LLMs. So the tools are really specific. You're not allowing code execution locally on your machines. You've got specific API endpoints you might go to. So you might deploy an MCP server locally within your data center with specific tools to capabilities and applications that you've got running, and then only expose that to LLM agents or LLM development within the organization. So it provides a way to deploy a tool set to empower LLM and agent development within the organization, but only by deploying and creating your tools once, because there's a ton of different tool capabilities, ton of different open source frameworks for how you go and interact with LLMs, but the tools are pretty stock standard, right? You don't want to have to redefine them each and every time. You might change LLMs, you might change frameworks, but the tools should ideally be pretty much the same. MCP is what gives you that standardized framework. So hopefully that helps answer that question. Who asked that? Somshankar. Hopefully that answers that question. GitHub link for this. I'm just going to show it to you on the screen now. That way, we might need to share my screen again. So I'm just going to go to GitHub/Nick Knock Knack. Where is it? We're sharing my screen. We are sharing my screen. Sick. Okay. So it is here, MCP in 10. So this basically has all the code. So If you take a look, all the servers are available here. Plus, I added in a bunch of extras. So there's one for stock info. There's one for building a stock tool for an income statement as well. And the YouTube video link where I show you how to build this in real time is here as well. Oh, no, it's just pointing to the Imgur link. But if you go and search for me on YouTube, you'll be able to find the link to that. So the agent is there. The server is there. You can test that out. Hopefully, you guys have fun with that. Great session. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Daniel, great and funny. Thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Where can I get my awesome 15-minute timer? I don't know. I think my wife bought it for me. I think it's called like a tick timer. It's really, really cool. I use it for like my coding pomodoros every single morning. So I try to do like a 25-minute session every single morning. I'm so glad you enjoyed the session. All this code is available via GitHub. It's helpful for someone to bring MCP agents. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, so let me see if I can just paste that link in somewhere where I can make it large for you guys to see. Let's add in a new file. This is the link. So github.com, and then just go to /NickKnockKnack, MCP in 10. You can get rid of this. Boom, there's the link. All right, does this also help for customers who are wary of uncontrolled data from their premises going out? Yeah, really, really good question there. Yes, it does, right? Because you're only going to expose exactly what it is that you want. You're not letting code execution, which could potentially write any code or malicious code, execute when you're running your particular server. You're still obviously running the tools on your server. Great question, Som. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for Nicholas for pasting the link in there. I'm so glad you enjoyed this session, guys. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of the TechXchange Dev Day. Again, I'm here for a couple more minutes, but I'm so glad you guys enjoyed the session. And let me know if you got any feedback. If you think we could have done something a little bit differently, if you'd like to see some other demos or some other live coding sessions, I'd love to know. Glorious use cases, I'll get cracking right away. Awesome. You let me know how you go. Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you so much, Ram. Thank you so much, Hashada, Gopi. Thank you so much, Ismail. Thanks, Carlos. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. Thank you so much for turning up to the session. Oh, Deepak, great question. You can actually add in human in the loop interaction with this. It looks really cool. I haven't done it yet, but I have seen the code. Thanks so much, Savesh. Thank you, Eddie. Thanks, Victor. Thanks, Bator. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Bring some use cases-based MCP. Last video on my server on my YouTube channel is on MCP. So again, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the rest of the sessions. I will catch you in the next one. Thanks again.